Okay,
That works.
so let's kind of go back to what we were talking about at the top of the show, since we've apparently had no audio there. So Satoru Iwata passed away last Saturday, much to the chagrin of many of his fans and many of Nintendo's fans. Iwata was only the second CEO to work for Nintendo. Their first CEO ran the company from 1949 until 2002, and then Iwata took over from 2002 until he passed away last Saturday. And he touched many people's lives throughout the years. Um, his funeral was attended by about 2,500 people on the first day. Another 1,500 came on the second day. So I mean that's 4,000 people that attended the funeral of the CEO of this company. And you know, I guess CEOs get a bad rap for being these brutish, hard-nosed people, but somebody like Iwata-san, he really touched a lot of lives.
And he did. You can say what you will about Nintendo's decision making. A lot of times, I've actually been kind of taken back by some of the decisions that they made. But one thing that I never felt like he just made a decision based on solely money or solely this or solely that. It's like he wanted Nintendo to be great, but he wanted it to be great not just because it was his company, but because he loved it and he knew people loved it, and he took that very seriously and he really took that to heart. And I think in his interactions with the Nintendo fan base, I think you could see that. And when the Nintendo fan base was frustrated, he was frustrated. And I don't get that feeling from from Sony or Microsoft, and especially with the E3 conference from a couple of years ago. And I hate to keep bringing it back up, but the behavior of Microsoft after they initially set out the policies for Xbox One, you would have never seen that behavior from Nintendo.
Right.
And yeah, Nintendo's in a bad spot right now, but I feel like if you have that kind of heart and that kind of attitude towards your company and towards what you want to do and that vision of what you want to do, then I think it'll all work out in the end. And I really hope Nintendo, you know, they've had a great loss, and I hope that they really think hard about who they put in the driver's seat of this company, and I hope that whoever that they put in in that seat, and whoever is the next successor, I hope they have that same want and desire for Nintendo to be great, not just for greatness sake.
Yeah, and let's kind of touch on that. Who would at this time replace Iwata? Well, currently Nintendo has two of their top guys serving as a co-director position for the company. They have Shigeru Miyamoto, who is 62. He is the creator of Donkey Kong, Mario, and Zelda. And they also have what is his name? I don't want to mess it up. Genyo Takada is the other. Takada is a 66-year-old engineer. He comes from the hardware side of the company. So currently they have a hardware guy and a software guy serving as co-director of the company. And you know that kind of leads to the way Iwata led the company. And I posted this on Facebook the day he passed away, but one of my favorite quotes from Iwata was he used to say, "My business card says corporate president, my brain says game developer, but my heart says gamer."
Right.
And that really talked about how he led the company, and I think by having these two gentlemen, you've got the guy who basically has basically created every great franchise Nintendo has: Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, and then you have the hardware guy who is responsible for a lot of the platforms that have flagshipped this company. I think with those two together making decisions as a co-director currently, that's kind of a good thing. Now, whether or not they pick one to go forward or if they continue in a co-director's leadership kind of style would be interesting to see.
Well, I guess my take on that is every ship needs a captain. You can't drive something by committee. And, it's co-directors work for smaller businesses. We're co-owners of this podcast company. You and I work very well together, and most of the time we see eye to eye on stuff. With what they've got going on at Nintendo right now, you really have the best of both worlds. You've got a creator. You've got somebody who is, in essence, you've got someone who is more artistic and abstract in their thinking, and then you've got the hardware guy who is going to be more logical, who's going to be more step by step, and I hate to say it, but probably more numbers oriented. And I feel like if Nintendo is going to get out of this, yeah, they need a little bit of that hardware guy, but they need a lot of that creator guy. They need a lot of that creativity. They need a lot of that abstract thinking. Right now, Nintendo's going to need something new.
Well, and Riv just made a good point in the chat, saying that if it were not for Nintendo, where would we be on things like, because they really developed pressure sensitivity and Z trigger targeting in games that might not have been. Everything was pretty linear prior to, say, even the Nintendo 64. Your controllers were pretty flat and linear. So I mean, they really ushered in that kind of, I don't want to say 3D space of thinking about how you control a game, but they really changed how you approach development and play style of games.
Well, Nintendo has really been at the forefront of technology from the get-go. I mean, they were the first ones to bring out 64-bit gaming on a home console. They were the first ones to include motion-sensitive gaming. They were oftentimes the innovator, and then other companies come up behind them and perfected it. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, Nintendo was already moving on to the next project. So the other game systems, yeah, graphically they looked better. Yes, their games had a little bit more. They had a little bit more production value behind them. They looked more like movies, especially now. Nintendo's already thinking on that next thing. They're already moving forward. They're already trying to innovate. They're always have their eye on their target demographic, which has always been family and children. Going forward, I do think they need to diversify a little bit just to stay relevant, but I don't think they need to take their eyes off what they've been doing. I think they just need to do it. Too much time is spent by Nintendo on one thing and trying to get caught up and keeping up with the Joneses. But, I mean, when you think about it, the Wii came out and the graphics weren't really any better than anything that was already out. In fact, it was more like it was a system behind. But the Wii still outsold the other two units 3 times over combined. And that's huge.
And I'll be honest. Growing up, I was a Nintendo. I had an original NES and I had a Super Nintendo. I got a Nintendo 64, but that system never really took off for me, personally. And then I skipped a generation. I didn't buy a GameCube. And then when we came back around to finally getting the original Wii's, the whole motion control really intrigued me, and that drew me back to Nintendo. which was something none of the other consoles had at the time. And like you were saying about the innovating, one of the last things Iwata was working on is what they so they're scheduling their core franchises to be released coming forward for smartphones. By the end of this year, you're going to start seeing official Nintendo software and games for smartphones. Also, they're working on what they're now calling the NX game console, which is a next gen console to kind of bring Nintendo in line with those other next gen consoles. Um, I'm looking at an article here. In fact, I believe if I click this button, everyone else can see the article I'm looking at here. So basically, what we're talking about is they're going to be developing these next gen consoles, and a Nintendo spokeswoman has said that currently there are no schedule changes planned for these initiatives, despite Mr. Iwata's death. So that tells me that they are looking at this as it's tragic, but we have a plan in place. We're going to go forward with what Mr. Iwata wanted for everybody, and we're going to continue on with his dream and see where it leads.
Yeah, and the mobile gaming thing is great. Don't get me wrong. But it's not going to be what bails Nintendo out. I mean, mobile gaming is a thing. I'm sorry if you are more of a hardcore traditional gamer and you don't like it. I don't necessarily like mobile gaming either. But whether you like it or not, it's here to stay.
Yeah.
And, that being said, it's not going to bail Nintendo out. Nintendo already has the mobile gaming market cornered. As far as like gaming systems, making the jump to the phone really isn't that big a deal. In fact, I'm willing to bet if you were to ask a lot of people who play the mobile games, they would almost rather have something just to play their mobile games on, rather than have to use their phone battery up all day and so on and so forth. They just want something a little more compact than what the new, I guess, portable gaming systems, their size. I think they're wanting something a little sleeker, something easier to hide.
Mm-hmm.
But this new console for Nintendo, it's going to be what either bails them out or sinks the ship. They have to hit a home run with this. They can't keep going back to the DS to bail them out. And, if they put too much effort into this mobile gaming for, like, the mobile phones and such, and they divide that too thin, I don't think they're going to be able to... I don't think they're going to be able to survive another round of gaming systems unless they put something out that's relevant.
Right. Okay, so speaking of relevant, one of the other things we talked about during our test show last weekend was Star Wars Battlefield 4.
Yes, and
I say Battlefield 4. I don't really know if that's
Battlefront.
It's Battlefront. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. So I have not actually played a Star Wars Battlefront game since the PS2. I think they made one after that before they officially canceled the series, but now that they've brought it back on this next generation platform, and I know you and I are both huge Star Wars geeks. So, yeah, you've got it behind you. Yeah, so I got to admit, I'm really excited for this game. I loved the Battlefront game on the PS2 that I played, and now that they're bringing it back, I got to admit, I'm super stoked.
Me too, and honestly, EA needs to hit a home run with Star Wars, or they just need to let it go. I feel like you only get so many chances with most things. With Star Wars, you can mess up a couple of times and still be okay. It's got enough staying power, and I think the fan base is used to a certain degree of disappointment. So they're kind of just happy to have something.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's really time to put Star Wars out on a console and make it rock again. And they really haven't done that since Knights of the Old Republic for the original Xbox. So, it's time.
Yeah.
And this game looks so good.
Yeah. So in recent news, as in this article that I'm fixing to pull up for you guys was posted 47 minutes ago on Fansided. So you will be able to play Star Wars Battlefront first on Xbox One through the EA Access program. Now, at EA or at E3, if you remember, it was announced that PS4 owners will get first access to Star Wars Battlefront DLC. So this kind of puts EA's foot in both pies, I guess. I don't really know how to go about saying it, but PS4 owners are going to get the link, or PS4 owners are going to get DLC first, but Xbox One EA Access owners are going to get the game first. So I don't know if it's like a beta before it comes out, or if it's going to be released on Xbox One first for a little while.
Maybe they're doing like a 2-week early release. It's really hard to say, but this is something that I just don't understand. The game's going to come out for all the systems, and yeah, everyone's excited about it, but just go ahead and bring it out for all the systems at once. This is not an Xbox exclusive. It's not a Sony exclusive. There's no reason to give one access before the other. It just doesn't. To me, that's bad PR.
Yeah.
As a video game company, you're going to punish one group of people for having an Xbox, and you're going to punish another group of people for having a PS4. Release the game at the same time, release the DLC at the same time. Unless there's technical issues behind it and you had to program for one before you programmed for the other, then I get it. I understand that. And if you make the choice to release it as soon as the Xbox version is done, and then the PS4 version when it's done, then that's up to you, and that's something that as a gamer I can live with. Okay, so let's just say Xbox One's easier to program for. Okay, go ahead. You've got money invested in the game. You need to recoup some of that cost. I understand. It's business. But if it's a matter of they're both already done, and you're just releasing Xbox One first because Microsoft paid you a little bit of money to be able to get it first, to me, as a game company, I don't think that is right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some ethics that go into that. And I could totally... you can tell me I'm off base if you want, but to me, that just doesn't seem like good business.
Yeah. Well, let's look at another aspect of the Battlefront game that personally has me pretty excited, and that's in the EA trailer that they showed at E3, there's a scene on Hoth where you're watching the game through the eyes of a rebel, I guess, soldier, and out of nowhere it transitions to Vader standing on a little like cliff, and then it spins, and all of a sudden you're controlling Luke charging in at Vader. So you're going to have these epic hero battles, it almost seems like, and you're going to be able to control some of the most famous characters from the series, which, for those of you who are really particular about your canon, it's like, at what point did Vader fight Luke on Hoth?
If I remember correctly, Luke is sporting the black tunic and the green lightsaber, which didn't happen until Return of the Jedi.
That is correct. In fact, I have I'm switching over here. I have a picture of that from the. But yeah, it's been reported that there'll be a certain level of tweaking when it comes to your very own stormtrooper. So that's kind of cool.
Yes.
Although it has been made clear by EA and DICE there will be a definite limit to what you can do. So I mean, you couldn't basically take him and pimp him out like the Adidas Stormtrooper, hip hop Stormtrooper that you see at Dragon Con.
Yeah, no. That's cool, but I'll give him a rocket pack.
But community manager Matthew Everett spoke more on the subject recently, confirming yes, you will be able to customize your character in a number of ways, from selecting various character models and loadouts to choosing emotes that best suit your playstyle. But I should note, we're going for an authentic, immersive Star Wars experience. That said, we won't be letting players create orange stormtroopers or change Darth Vader's suit to pink. We want to maintain a level of immersion that the development team is striving to create. We'll go into more specific details soon. So it sounds like, even though that's kind of what they're talking about, there will still be a little bit of customability.
Customization.
Yeah, there you go. And
I'm here.
yeah, and so it sounds like they're really doing some good stuff with this game, and I'm really excited about it.
We need a good Star Wars game for the console. It really has been too long. Old Republic is okay. As far as an MMO goes, and I know you're pretty excited for the upcoming expansion. I watched the trailer; it piques my interest a little bit, but I'm kind of out of that MMO phase at the time.
Yeah, it's free to play right now. If now I say the base game is free to play right now. If you subscribe between now and October, you get the new expansion for free as well. If you don't, if you're just playing the free model, you'll have to pay for the expansion when it comes out, I assume, is how they're working that. But
yeah. So, I mean, the trailer is cool enough, but just Battlefront needs to come out.
Yes.
And that's probably where I'm going to spend my Star Wars money. That and the new movie. So.
Yeah, and a date has been announced. Star Wars Battlefront will be available on November 17th.
For Xbox One.
To my knowledge, currently for Xbox One, and then eventually for PS4.
Well, you're not gonna. If you're EA, you can't miss that Christmas money.
Right.
So I'm betting it's a week, Black Friday. I can't imagine you wouldn't have the PlayStation 4 version out by Black Friday. So
that's true. That is the following week. So
I would imagine they'll get the 1 week. And then I would expect to see that trickle down towards the DLC. PS4 will get it a week before Xbox One. That's my prediction. I have nothing to back it up. It's just working in video game retail for as long as I did. I can't imagine that anyone would purposely miss having a title like this out for a system and miss Black Friday.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
So. Yeah. So, with that being said, the other big news out of EA from E3 was that really cool Mass Effect 4 teaser that they showed. And I'm going to admit, I wasn't overly impressed with EA's E3 press conference, but Battlefront and Mass Effect 4 really made it for me.
Well, it's about that diversity. EA is known for their sports games, but they're in today's video game market. If you're brick and mortar, and I'm going to say pretty much if you're making any physical medium at this point, you're brick and mortar. You're having to compete with the digital download age. You're going to have to diversify. You can't afford to hit one little niche, and that's Nintendo's issue right now. Kind of going back to that, they're going to have to expand who their target audience is, and the same thing is going to happen for EA. You have to expand. You have to be able to hit multiple demographics within a fiscal year, or you're just going to lose money. And the biggest complaint I hear about EA is that it's the same game regurgitated year after year. Why am I spending $60 for this new Madden when all it is a roster change? Maybe they've added a new feature, maybe the graphics are a little bit better, but in the end, it's still the same game I bought last year. But you know what? People still buy it. I was one of those people. I bought several Maddens in a row, and then I got to where I only bought a Madden every 2 years, and then I got to where I only bought a Madden every 3 years, and then I just stopped buying it all together because I could just make the new football players if I wanted them, and then I just stopped playing it all together. But, that takes care of a certain demographic of video gamers. Well, then you've got Battlefield. So Battlefield takes care of your first-person shooter demographic of video gamers. And now you've got Star Wars, so that's going to take care of your sci-fi fantasy guys for a while. And now Mass Effect is also going to take care of some of those sci-fi fantasy people, but it's also going to get your RPG folks back into the game.
Right.
And really, it's a pretty smart decision by EA. Yes, it puts a lot of irons in the fire, and they've got a lot to keep up with, but I think right now they could possibly be the most diversified video game company coming into the Christmas season.
Yeah, so I'm a huge Mass Effect 4 fan. Back in February of last year, February 2014, I finally managed to get my hands on a copy of Mass Effect 3, and I sat down starting in February through like May, and I played through all 3 games back to back to back just to see the storyline. There was a lot of controversy over the Mass Effect 3 ending, and in fact, we talked about that on one of our really early episodes. I want to say somewhere between episode 5 and 10 of our podcast.
Yes.
And it was pretty, there was a lot of hate coming out of it, enough in fact that they released a DLC pack that kind of tweaked the ending of the game. Well, personally, after having played through all 3 games in a row, I was really okay with the ending. I thought the ending fit the game well up to what had happened thus far. So it wasn't a big deal to me.
Well, it goes back to what do you want out of an ending, whether it's movies or whether it's video game. Do you want the happy ending? Do you want the ending that is going to make you feel good at the end of the game?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you looking for a grittier ending? Maybe being taken off guard by the fact that it didn't all end up okay. That despite everything you did, in the end, you were only able to squeeze out just a small victory. And I think for a lot of people, having invested that much time and energy into this game, which is what they wanted. When I worked in video game retail, that's all anyone ever said. I'm so tired of 6 and 8 hour games. I want big, long games that are 20 plus hours. And
yeah,
here you are, Mass Effect. We'll give you that if you want to play that storyline out.
Yes.
But the side effect of that is you get so invested in the characters, and you get so invested in the storyline. And now you've got this ending where the good guys don't exactly win.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people had a problem with that.
Well, and I think they're handling Mass Effect 4 well in that they're leaving their main character and they're going on with the universe. And this is going to take place after all of that, and you're going to actually be going out and exploring more of the universe than you did in the first 3 games. You're going to have more control over where you go and what you do and the types of missions, and you're going to be meeting new characters, and they've hinted you're going to be meeting some of the characters that might still be around from the original series, because not all of those characters were humans, and some of them have longer lifespans. So I want to say this takes place like 50 to 100 years after the original 3, but I'd have to verify that somewhere.
Yeah, and luckily for us, and I know this is going to sound really weird, but luckily for us, we don't know a lot about this game yet. And that's going to give us time to get excited as they slowly start to drop hints. And we get to see we get to see the game develop and build that excitement for it. And a lot like Mass Effect itself, it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And you build up to a certain level of excitement. And to me, when you when you have that level of excitement and the game comes out and it's great, it's like you get a nice sense of fulfillment from beginning to end. You anticipated it, it came out, it was what you wanted, and by the time you're finished, you just have this sense of completion.
Yeah.
You have this sense of fulfillment. And for a lot of people, I think that's missing right now. So EA has that unique ability at this moment to feel the need for Star Wars fans to have a great game, RPG fans to have a great long game, full of story and full of adventure, and then of course you have the typical EA stuff, which is your sports games, and there's a new Battlefield coming, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I can't imagine they would sit on that, and then that's going to give you your sports games, your sci-fi fantasy games, your RPG games, and your first-person shooter game, and it's probably all going to happen within, what I would say, somewhere between 18 and 24 months.
Probably.
I mean, we already know the release dates for the sports games because they tend to not change, and then we have a tentative release date for Battlefront. So,
yeah.
Is there a tentative release date for
Mass Effect?
I've not seen one yet.
I have not seen one either.
I would imagine if it's not going to come out sometime in November, I would imagine it'll be sometime around tax return season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who knows when the next Battlefield's coming out? Because they just did Hardline.
Yes, Hardline just came out not too long ago. That's correct.
Right. So I mean, they've had one. They've had one recently. So it may be a little while before they make another of that franchise. But in the end, I feel like finally EA is on track to kind of stabilize and somebody's going to have to take control of this industry and set the standard. And right now, I think EA's poised themselves to do so.
Yes.
It's certainly not Activision.
Speaking of an Activision company, let's transition to what you and I spent the weekend doing.
Yes, but real quick, so if you're in the chat room right now, I'm actually going to post something up, and everyone knows as much of a Star Wars fan as I am, I'm also that big a Transformers fan. So there's a new arcade game in Japan only, and I'm going to take the link and post it in the chat right now. It is crazy, but I wish it would make it. Yeah.
Spinning Vortex of Death.
Yeah. You guys, check out that link. Let me know what you think about it. Or actually post it on our Facebook page. We'll post the link up on Facebook page. You can comment on it. And, yeah, I saw this article and, I got chills. So, yeah. So back to what you were saying. Sorry for the little side thing there. See, I'm also good for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a tangent. We spent the weekend, our second weekend actually, we spent it watching the Road to BlizzCon North America Open for Hearthstone Heroes, or not Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm. Hearthstone's coming up. Can't wait for that one. I watched it last year. Heroes, however, I did not watch last year. So this year, this is new for us. Watching these games, but man, they were good.
They were very good, and if those of you who aren't familiar with, might be watching who aren't familiar with Heroes of the Storm is it's in the vein of a MOBA, which is a multiplayer online battle arena, but these are actually more like a hero brawler, because the major difference is that in MOBAs, each individual character levels up on their own. They have gear, they have items, there's a lot more in depth involved to it. Whereas with Heroes being a hero brawler, you've got team play. So the teams level as one. There's no individual characters, there's no gear, there's no items. It's all about tower defense, basically. You want to destroy your opponent's towers before they can destroy yours. So it makes for really interesting play watching these people play at high levels. and watching this tournament go on. Um, so as Alex was just explaining, the North America Open is a tournament series that's running in June, July, and August. It's open to anybody who wants to register a team and compete online. And the winning teams will go on to win a trip to BlizzCon to compete for over $1 million in prizes. So we spent
a lot of money to play a video game.
so we spent the weekend watching this tournament, and I got to tell you, it was not. There wasn't a boring moment to be had. It was pretty exciting all weekend watching these games.
Yeah, and you know, for me, this game just gets me just all around.
It gives Alex the warm and fuzzies.
It really does. It takes all the things that I like about gaming and all the things that I just enjoy doing, and it's planning. When you're in the hero draft and getting to draft your characters, and then once you get in, it's coming up with a game plan, and then once that game plan falls apart, because most of the time, let's just face it, it will.
Mm-hmm.
It's that adaptation and thinking on your feet and having to come up with something, and in the end, it's that combination of skill, luck, and communication, and planning and strategy that all come together and decide whether or not you win the game. I just saw where you wiped your forehead. Are you hot over there?
It's a little warm.
Yeah, it's warm in here too. But yeah, so this weekend it was watching how people approach the game and watching them draft and counter draft, and once they got in, how they set things up, and when you and I play this, it's a lot of it is reacting because we are so new to it. And,
yeah.
We it's just you and I most of the time. We may have a third, and we communicate over Skype.
We used to have this really good Nova named Riv. I don't know whatever happened to that guy.
We've not seen him in a while. But we don't get to communicate with the other two players, so for us, we don't really get to do the combinations and develop those team strategies like they do in the tournament scene. And watching what you can do when all 5 players are playing and they're on that same page is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, when you and I play, it's a lot of reacting. When these guys play, like these guys that we watched all weekend, it's almost like it's a lot of predicting. Because where we're reacting, they're predicting where their opponents are going to be. I watched, I guess it was the next to last game before the finals, and one of the guys was playing Taronda, and she's got an ability that fires an owl across the board and gives the team vision wherever that owl is. And this guy was just insane with this owl.
He was cheating.
He was hitting them every time, and I mean, from across the map, direct hits. It's like he knew where they were going to be at all times, and that's the difference in the level of play that you're talking about. Where we're reacting to what's happening, he's like, okay, I'm going to just assume they're all the way over there on the other side of the map, fire the owl, boom, there they are.
Right, it's like, okay, I've not seen this person for a while. I bet he's here. I bet he's doing this. I bet he's taking this merc camp. I bet he's doing this. I bet he's here. Oh, I bet they're hiding in this bush. And it's like, he's at the bottom left of the map, and this bush is in the top right-hand corner of the map, and he fires the owl across and knocks it. And it's just like, how did you know he was even there?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's pretty amazing, and they do things, and they draft heroes and combinations that you would never think would work, and then it's suddenly it comes together, and you see why they drafted it. You're just like, why didn't I think of something like that? That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So The next tournament sign-ups have started now. If you are interested in forming a five-man team and competing at BlizzCon, competing in the North American Open, sign-ups are now through I believe August the 8th, and then the tournament will begin the following weekend, I believe, with the round of 8 broadcast taking place August 22nd and 23rd. Um, this will be the final tournament before BlizzCon.
Well, yeah, no, the final tournament for I think this is the final Open to qualify for BlizzCon, and then I think they do another tournament to
Okay.
figure out the two. Yeah, because what happens is
Oh, yeah.
there's be 5 qualifiers for NA, and then the NA teams are going to go up against the Latin American teams, South American teams, Asian Pacific teams or Southeast Asia teams, and out of those groups, they're going to play for the 2 teams. So there's only going to be 2 teams out of all of those. 2 teams are going to go represent the Americas in BlizzCon.
Yes, that is correct.
Against 2 European teams, 2 Asian teams, and 1 Korean team, I believe.
That
I'm missing somebody.
No, I think it's 2-2-2, all 2-2, 2-2 all the way across the board, isn't it?
I thought there were 9.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that there's 9.
9 would make it an odd number, though. That's
yeah. I have to pull it up. Let me see if I can figure it out. And I know I'm really close to the to the camera there.
Okay. Well, while he looks that up, the finals, the America's Championship, will take place. I guess the Road to BlizzCon finals will take place at BlizzCon on November 6th and 7th this year. So if you are thinking about checking that out, if you haven't already got your tickets to BlizzCon, well, too bad, because they sell out in like 7 seconds. However, what we have done the last few years, and it's worked out really well, is Blizzard offers what they call a virtual ticket for like $39.99. You can get full access to all the panels, everything that's going on, and be able to watch all the tournaments, all the informational panels. It's fantastic. Have some friends over, turn it into a party. One of the best weekends of the year. In fact, I almost enjoy it better than going to some conventions. So,
all right. So here's how it all breaks down. So after this last round of qualifiers for the NA group, they will go up against the winners of the Latin America Championship, the Southeast Asia Championship, and the Australia and New Zealand Championship.
okay.
Out of all those champions, only 2 teams will advance and they will represent the Americas at the BlizzCon tournament. They will go up against 2 teams from Europe, 2 teams from China, 1 team from Taiwan, and 1 team from Korea.
Oh, okay, okay.
Those 8 teams will then compete for the big
World Championship or whatever they call it. Yeah. Awesome. I very much look forward to seeing that take place. So, all right. Well, do you have anything else you want to?
If you're interested, some of the other championships are still going on. It looks like the Southeast Asia Championship. Malaysia has 16 teams. Singapore has 8. Philippines have 8, and Thailand have 8, and they will all compete. The top team from each of those will compete in the Southeast Asia Championship in Bangkok, Thailand, and from there 1 team will advance. Latin America, they have open team qualifiers. The top 16 teams play in a dual group tournament, and then the top 8 teams will play in a single elimination tournament until 1 team is left standing. They will then go to the Americas Championship Australia and New Zealand Championship. They have open team qualifiers, and the top 8 teams would play in a double elimination tournament with one team advancing. And then we already went over the Southeast Asia.
Right.
So the European group is not listed. So it looks like for Europe, it's just the Europe Opens, and then the Europe Championship happens, and then I guess they take the top 2 teams from the Europe Championship, and
Okay.
they will represent Europe.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we will call this show a wrap for tonight.
All right. So for the people that didn't get to watch us stream, now is this going to be available on YouTube going forward?
This will be available on YouTube and will also be available on our website at www.ecmmogamers.com. And it'll be on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/ecmmogamers. And we will also probably see about pulling the audio out and feeding this into our RSS feed, audio feed, if you want to, if you're not able to watch it, but still want to listen to what we talked about.
Yes, so we're still figuring all of that out. In typical ECMMO gamers, casual Sunday gamer fashion, we jumped with both feet in, and it was either sink or swim. And
hey, my horses push this cart really well.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess, like I said, that'll do it for tonight. We hope to see you guys again very soon. We're going to try to do this pretty regularly, I guess, now that once we get all the little bugs worked out of our video stream here.
Yep. Right now, our date is going to be Sunday evenings at 9 o'clock.
Sunday evenings at 9 o'clock, yes. And that should be pretty solid going forward. And we hope to see you all there. If you haven't already, check us out. Check out our Patreon page. It will help us to be able to make this stream and this show a little better. Those of you who are already backing us on Patreon, we thank you very, very much. And
it's all about the production.
Yes.
All about the production value. The more that we have coming in, it's going to go right back into the show. Right back into equipment upgrades, software upgrades. It's it takes a lot to run one of these, and we've got the time to put in. Now we just need the support behind it. So.
Absolutely. All right, guys. As always, I'm Patrick.
I'm Alex.
Good gaming.